This is my home too now. You should serve me properly. Ha ha. When I got home, for some reason my mother-in-law Jane, who I don't live with, was there and said something outrageous. What? I was shocked by Jane's words and couldn't help but exclaim in disbelief. I had been away for 3 nights and 4 days to attend my sister's wedding in Hawaii, leaving the house empty. Apparently, during my absence, Jane had moved into our place. Of course, the person behind this was her son, Scott. Yes, my husband. I questioned my husband about what was going on, but what he told me was beyond my expectations. My name is Kristen. I am 29 years old and work in sales. I was dedicated to my studies during my school years and landed a job at a major insurance company right after graduating. I am often referred to as a career woman by those around me. Indeed, I love my job and work hard every day. But when it comes to romance, I suck and have never been in a real relationship with someone of the opposite gender. However, a turning point came for me one day. It was an unusually hectic day with many appointments with clients. I had to visit an important client who was about to sign a contract, but I left the office just in time. Rushing, I grabbed the necessary documents and left the office. I hope I can make it in time. As I hurried to the station, I felt someone calling my name and turned around. I saw a man running desperately towards me.
Kristen, please, wait.
Huh? Scott? He was Scott, a colleague from the same department who worked in the gym. We hadn't talked much, only exchanging greetings. Catching up to me, Scott, panting heavily, handed me something. What's this? It was the document I needed for the client I was about to meet. Oh, what? Why do you have this document? Confused, I checked the documents I brought, only to find that they were for a different client. It seemed I had grabbed the wrong documents in my haste.
I happened to pass by your desk and noticed this document was left behind, so I chased after you in a hurry. I'm glad I made it in time.
Oh, thank you. I would have lost the client's trust without this document. I repeatedly thanked him, deeply grateful for his help. He smiled at me like the sun, despite the mistake I would never usually make.
No problem. I'm glad I could help you. Please be careful on your way.
Thanks to him, I was able to secure the contract that day. This incident led us to talk more, go out for meals several times, and naturally progress to dating. He was 2 years older than me, gentle, and always smiling. Our relationship progressed smoothly, and exactly 2 years after we started dating, we decided to get married. I was full of hope for a happy married life, but soon after the wedding, we faced a problem. It was about my mother-in-law, Jane. My father-in-law, John, had passed away 5 years earlier, and Jane was living alone. Her house was close to ours, so she often came over to beg for money. Kristen, you earn a lot, don't you? Give me some money. She had a big smile and spoke in a playful tone. Before Scott and I got married, I thought she was a modest and nice person, but she showed her true colors immediately after we got hitched. Despite repeatedly telling her I cannot give her money, Jane persistently asked for it, which frustrated me to no end. She seems to be reckless with money, spending whatever she has. Finally, she even called my sister to ask for money, which really made me angry. I thought of asking Scott to speak to his mother about it, and I told him my thoughts. Hey, can you tell your mom to stop asking for money? She even called my sister. You said it's fine to ignore her, but why should we have to put up with this? Please, ask her to stop.
Huh? Oh, yeah. I'll talk to her next time.
Scott's response was vague, and he never actually spoke to his mother about it. After we got married, I realized that Scott might be a bit of a mama's boy. In his eyes, I'm probably the bad one for speaking ill of his beloved mother. Even after repeatedly asking Scott, all I got was,
That's just how Mom is. You don't have to give her money, just ignore her.
That's all he said, asking me to just smile and let it go. He never actually told his mother to stop, not even once. Jane also constantly criticized how I did the housework, leaving me utterly fed up with her. As she got older and her health began to decline, she hinted at wanting to move in with Scott and me in our spacious house. She never brought it up directly, so I avoided the topic. But one day,
Hey, Mom says she's getting weaker and feeling anxious, so she wants to live with us in our house. I think it's a good idea. You're okay with it, right, Kristen?
Scott, smiling as he suggested it, received a firm rejection from me. Live together? That's out of the question. I absolutely refuse. Scott, not liking my response, became furious and started yelling at me.
What's wrong with you? Mom is kindly offering to live with us.
Then let me ask you, what's in it for me? It's stressful enough being asked for money and constantly criticized, even when we don't live with each other. Living together and seeing her face all the time? No way, impossible.
What do you mean, what's in it for me? Are you saying you married me just for the benefits?
Our argument escalated from there and we ended up fighting for a while. Neither of us backed down, and the argument continued into the next day. During this time, I was preparing for my sister's wedding in Hawaii. My parents had passed away in a car accident 3 years ago, and with distant relations to other relatives, my sister Ashley, who is 3 years older than me, was my only family. We've been close since childhood, and I was overjoyed to hear about her marriage, looking forward to the wedding immensely. The wedding date was set before Scott and I got married, so it was planned for me to attend alone. About 5 days into our argument, Scott suddenly apologized.
I'm sorry. I went too far. We don't have to live with my mom if you're against it.
Huh? I was relieved by Scott's words. Thank you. I'm sorry, too, for being so adamant.
Yeah, it's okay. By the way, your sister's wedding is coming up, right? You'll be in Hawaii for 3 nights and 4 days? Have fun.
With a smile from Scott, I also beamed. Thank you. I'll take lots of photos and videos. Thus, we made up and looked forward to my sister's wedding, enjoying peaceful days. On the day of the wedding, the venue was beautiful with a stunning view of the Hawaiian Sea through large windows. My sister Ashley looked beautiful in her wedding dress, and her happy smile brought me to tears several times. Her partner, Nick, is a dependable and wonderful person whom I've met several times. I felt at ease knowing my sister was marrying someone like him. I wholeheartedly celebrated their marriage. After the wedding ended and I enjoyed sightseeing, I returned home, concluding my 3-night, 4-day stay. I'm home! As I said that, I opened the front door of my home. The person who appeared was Jane. Welcome home, Kristen. Oh, Jane, you're here. Surprised by her presence, she snorted. What do you mean, you're here? This is my home too now. You should serve me properly. What? Shocked by her words, I hurriedly headed to the living room. As expected, Scott was relaxing on the living room sofa, and I confronted him. What's going on? Why is your mother here? We agreed not to live together, didn't we?
You're so loud when you just got home. The not living together thing was a lie. I moved Mom's stuff in while you were in Hawaii. From today, we're living together, the 3 of us. Anger boiled up within me at Scott's casual declaration. It seemed he had planned to sneakily start living together with his mother while I was away at my sister's wedding in Hawaii. What is that? You tricked me? Tricked? That sounds so bad. This is a perfect opportunity for you to show your care for Mom. You don't have your real parents anymore, so why not take this chance? Scott's smirking and such talk disgusted me. Jane, joining in, commanded, That's right. You should value me more. Start by giving me a massage. Right, Kristen. From now on, don't miss a day of giving Mom a massage. Also, about Mom's room, it would be hard for her to climb the stairs to the 2nd floor, so we'll make the guest room on the 1st floor her room. I couldn't stand their unilateral decisions any longer and raised my voice. Don't joke with me. Doing something like this without asking is the worst. Scott frowned, clicked his tongue, and yelled at me. What's with your attitude? Whether you like it or not, we're living together starting today. If you don't like it, you can leave. Stunned by Scott's harsh words, he then added insultingly with a laugh. Well, your parents are already gone to the other world, and you don't have a home to go back to, so where will you go? I realized I was done with Scott right then and there. Understood. I'll divorce you and settle everything. As I spoke calmly, Scott and his mother laughed out loud. Go ahead if you think you can. Do you even have the courage to divorce? With nowhere to go? But I totally agree with a divorce. You're not cute. Just because you can work a bit, you're always so arrogant.
Scott is right. Even though you earn well, you don't give us any allowance and you're defiant. A useless daughter-in-law like you should just leave. Scott and his mother kept hurling insults at me, but having decided to sever ties with these people, I found it pointless to argue back and stayed silent. Taking my silence as a concession, they continued their verbal abuse, but I ignored them and took out my phone from my bag. I then made a call to a certain person, waiting quietly for the person on the other end to pick up.
Huh? Who are you calling?
Scott asked curiously, but at the same time the person answered and I started talking. Hello, sis? Yes, the person I called was my sister Ashley. Kristen, thank you so much for coming to the wedding. Have you arrived home? Yes, I'm home. The wedding was truly wonderful. Congratulations again. So, I've made a decision. I wanted to tell you right away because I've been worrying you for so long. Scott and his mom were holding their breath as I spoke. I've decided to divorce Scott. And about the house, it's too big for me to live in alone, and I'm not planning to rebuild it, so I'll take this opportunity to sort out the house and land too. When I declared that loudly, Scott and his mother were shocked, both exclaiming,
What?
My sister was happy about my decision, saying, If there's anything I can do to help, just let me know. I thanked her and hung up the phone. Right at that moment, Scott began to yell at me.
What the hell are you saying on your own? Clearing the house and land? You plan to turn it into an empty lot? You can't be serious, right?
Yes, that's right. Besides, the house and land are under Scott's name, aren't they? You can't just decide something like that on your own. Caught by his mother's words, Scott looked embarrassed and stuttered.
Well, that's...
Facing his confused mother, I firmly clarified. Jane, it seems you're mistaken, but the house and land are actually in my name. What? That's a lie, right? But Scott said he was the owner. Jane raised her voice in disbelief, turning to Scott to ask, Right? You're the owner, aren't you? Scott remained silent and looked down, not answering her questions. I quietly addressed Scott. I had a feeling this might be the case, but you really lied to your mother about being the owner, didn't you? Why would you do such a thing? Interrupting me, Scott yelled out desperately.
It pissed me off that you earn more than me. This house, too, we couldn't get a mortgage with my salary. And in the end, you became the owner, which hurt my pride as a man. So I told my mom that.
So you lied about being the owner just to keep up appearances? As I said this, Scott admitted.
Yes, I lied. And as Mom praised me, I increasingly convinced myself I was the real owner.
While Scott and I work at the same company, I'm in sales, and he's in an admin role, leading to a significant difference in our salaries. Supported by those around me, I've been able to achieve good results and earn a high salary. But honestly, Scott's salary is so low it's hard to believe we work for the same company. However, there are admin staff who earn a decent wage. Scott, lacking motivation for his work and always waiting for instructions, would quickly delegate any work he did have to others. He was a friendly guy, but it was clear he wasn't exactly welcomed. Scott, who belittles his admin role and tends to slack off, has never shown ambition to transfer to another department or seek employment elsewhere to earn more. He would constantly say to me,
Your salary will increase immediately if you get promoted.
And,
unlike sales, where your salary decreases if you don't produce results, admin roles are stable.
Because of the pay gap, it wasn't possible to split daily expenses equally. Thus, I was shouldering most of the mortgage and living expenses. Jane believed Scott built the house and often praised him, shocked by the revelation. Quickly regaining her composure, she desperately asked me, Wait, that story earlier was a lie, right? What will happen to Scott and me if you clear the land? I've already processed the termination of my previous house, thinking I'd move here. I don't know. Scott and I are getting divorced, so you're strangers to me now. You two will need to figure out what to do from here on. As I coldly stated this, Scott clung to me.
Hey, let's not get a divorce. I was wrong earlier. I just got carried away. I can't do it without you, Kristen. Divorce is definitely not happening.
Realizing the insecurity of his future, he desperately clung to me, changing his tune. Sighing deeply, I addressed Scott. Do you think apologizing now erases everything? I can't continue being your wife after all this. I don't even want to see your face, so I'll stay at a hotel for now, but I'll proceed with selling the house and land. As I said this, both were visibly shaken. I'll give you some time to move out, but if you continue to live in the house without doing anything, I'll eventually take legal action to evict you. You both better find somewhere else to live soon. With that, I left the house, carrying my immediate belongings.
Wait for me.
Scott and his mother tried to stop me, but of course I ignored them. Scott continued to drag his feet on the divorce, but I had recorded all the abusive language from Scott and his mother, making the divorce process and mediation straightforward. My biggest worry, that Scott and his mother wouldn't leave the house, turned out to be unfounded. Perhaps hearing my firm declaration to evict them through a lawsuit if necessary, Scott and his mother fled as soon as the divorce was finalized. Thanks to that, I was able to demolish the house and clear the land. I could have sold the house as it was, but in this area, it seems more people are interested in building custom homes than buying existing ones. I heard that selling just the land would attract more buyers, so I decided to bear some demolition costs for the benefit of making it vacant land. After losing their place to stay, Scott and his mother apparently moved into public housing. I chose a new place to live, moved in, and at the same time I quit my job. The reason for quitting was not only because I couldn't stand to see Scott's face anymore, but also because my new home was quite far away from the company. Now I'm working hard at a new workplace, which is actually a company owned by my sister's husband, Nick. I had always confided in my sister about Scott and Jane, and she had been urging me to divorce. Nick appreciated my work performance and had offered me a job at his company if I ever decided to quit my job following the divorce. Officially, I was headhunted by Nick's company, which, like my previous employer, deals with insurance. It's essentially a competitor. At my new job, I've been eagerly tackling tasks and continuously achieving great results. Having settled the divorce, I was able to focus on my work without any reservations, making my days enjoyable.
I'm really glad you joined our company. Our clients love you, and you've been securing contracts one after another, exceeding our expectations. Thank you.
Nick's praise only motivated me more, and I worked even harder. Word of my reputation reached my former company, which regretted letting go of a valuable employee as they struggled to recover. People leave their jobs a lot in this industry, but my departure because of my marriage caused Scott to be shunned at work. His inability to perform became evident as his previously sunny disposition and likability could no longer mask his lack of motivation and initiative. His assignments dwindled, leading to further isolation. Unable to endure the scorn from everyone, Scott eventually resigned. My former coworker informed me that he had a hard time finding a new job in admin roles, leading to a significantly reduced lifestyle for him and his mother. Jane, who had taken up part-time work, lacked the understanding of the work ethic required, frequently missing work without notice, and was quickly fired. One time, Jane called me, begging for help. "Kristen, please, take Scott back. I can't stand this poor lifestyle anymore. Scott's always irritable and yells at me. Please help us." Her sobs were obviously exaggerated, likely a ploy for sympathy. "I refuse. Why should I help you?" As I coldly refused, she became more frantic. "Don't say such things. We were family, weren't we? Don't you feel sorry for an old woman suffering like this? If you can't reconcile with Scott, at least give us some money. Anything will help, please." "I will not reconcile with your son, nor will I give you any money. Do not call me again." After firmly ending the conversation, I immediately blocked her number, as well as Scott's. Now that the divorce and property division were finalized, there was no need to communicate with them any longer. Blocking them brought me relief. A year has passed since then, and I'm still thriving at Nick's company. Though I have no romantic interest, I'm content with my current lifestyle, frequently meeting my sister who remains close to me. Recently, we learned she's expecting a baby, and I look forward to welcoming the new family member. One day, while visiting the area where Scott and I used to live for work, I spotted a man in shabby clothes, unkempt hair, and a bushy beard collecting cans under a bridge. It was Scott. Seeing his pitiful state, I paused, remembering that his job search failed because he limited himself to admin roles. Despite his amiable nature, there were other jobs he could have pursued without focusing solely on office work. We were once happy together, and I had suggested he consider other fields that could leverage his strengths. Sadly, my advice had no impact. But we are now strangers, and his current situation is the result of his own choices. With that thought, I walked away, leaving Scott and his past behind.